without further ado, I want to introduce our featured presenter today, Kristen Alexander. Kristen, first and foremost, career has been being a mother of 2 children that have made their way off to college. She has owned and operated a fitness studio, and I can tell you it's one of the best, if not the best, studio I've ever been to, and I miss that greatly. It's currently a fitness director at Avila Bay Athletic Club. Her 20 years of experience and numerous certifications in the fitness industry has helped her understand and coach individuals in not only health, but life. Through her workshops and individual coaching, she has helped people find their path to self-realization, which has allowed her clients to attain goals they never thought possible. She is a 10-year breast cancer survivor, the oldest of 8 children. That's a miracle in itself. And is currently authoring 2 books. Her greatest joy is helping people reach their full potential. And with that, I'm going to spotlight Kristen, and I'm going to turn her over to you.
I want to thank all of you for being here and taking time out of your day, this beautiful Friday in the middle of the day, to just hang out and take some time for yourself. And I really, really hope that you walk away with something that you can use later. We have about an hour, but my goal is that you have some things to think about as you walk away and some tools to help you maybe change a few things in your life for the better. So like Emily said, I have been in the fitness industry for 20 years, and the best part of that, I got into it as a new mom, and I wanted to stay in shape, and I needed something to do to keep myself occupied when my kids sort of started going into school. And the side part of that that's really become my passion is watching my clients and my students become more and better than they ever thought they could. And beyond the physical benefits of everything in the health industry, it's been the change in mindset and the understanding that people can do more and be more than they ever expected. That has been really rewarding to me in my life. So that's been my passion now, that I really want to kind of work with that mindset, because how you think about things really is how you express it through your body and in your life and everything else. So if we can get to why we think the way we think and what causes our actions, then we can really mindfully move forward in our life with purpose. So another thing, I don't know if I don't think Emily mentioned it, but I am the oldest of 8 kids, but I did grow up in a little town above Boulder, Colorado. Actually, it was a little cabin above Boulder, Colorado, and my parents were full-on hippies. My sister's on the call right now, so she can attest to that. And we sometimes never even got dressed. So we'd go out and we'd play with sticks and bugs and everything else, and we, if I understand flow, that's where it comes from. My hippie parents that really helped me understand that life can just be a joyful flow in whatever direction it's going to take you. And when I was 10, we moved to town, and I started to feel some of the pressures that we all feel as we grow up from outside sources and social expectations. I had to have the short OP shorts. That was really important if I was going to be popular or accepted and things like that. So I went from a very fluid and flowing life into sort of that more structured and expectation-filled life that I think we all do. And we don't even realize it's happening. A lot of these social expectations are just sort of there and in place. And so we start to accept them as truth and real. And it's an effort to get back to that time when we were maybe children, and we let things sort of flow naturally and allowed ourselves to be really authentic and truly who we are. So yeah, I really did have sort of a section of my life where I tried very hard to be what people expected of me. I had the perfect house that was clean, mostly when people came over, not usually when people weren't coming over, but I wanted to have the clean house. I wanted to have the well-behaved children. I wanted to have the perfect parties and all of those things. And I did really well, actually. And I realized actually right after I went through cancer that really wasn't bringing me joy. And really the joy that I wanted to have in my life was going to come from inside and not this external pressure and expectations from society and everything else. So I basically, when I went through cancer, just sort of decided I didn't care what other people thought. I was just going to be myself. So I'm coming to you today, not as an expert in any way, but just as someone who's very passionate about life and has really worked on learning some things about life. And I wish I could tell my earlier self some of the things I've learned. So I'd love to share them with you, because I think that's just how we move forward in life and how we become better. So today, talking about force versus flow, I want to tell you the definition of force is strength or power exerted upon an object. And the synonyms for that, a few of them are pressure, tension, strain, and stress. And I think all of us can isolate some part of our life that might feel that way. It might be a little forced. And so I want you to sort of start thinking about that right now, sort of maybe if there's some element in your life that's feeling a little bit forced or pushed. And then the definition for flow, the action or fact of moving along in a steady, continuous stream. And synonyms for flow, progress, continuity, plenty, breakthrough, advance, improve. All really positive words. And so that sort of brings you to that feeling of flowing, and maybe think about something in your life that does feel that way right now. And actually, you might feel something new since we're in this pandemic and shelter at home, that there might be something that maybe wasn't flowing before and now really is flowing and is a really positive outcome from our current situation. So I want you to sort of have that in the back of your head, sort of thinking about the things in your life that maybe you are going well, and then the ones that you're feeling are maybe a little pushed or forced. I'm going to use a couple examples of force versus flow. One comes from my son, Jack, who is at the Air Force Academy. He's currently home right now, but he has loved the water. He loves swimming, and he's played water polo since I think he was 9 years old. And Jack has, most things come very easily to him. Academics, social, everything pretty much comes easy to him. Water polo, not so much. And he would agree with me that he's not the best player, but he has a love for the game. And he has strived, he's still playing water polo at the Air Force Academy in college now. And he shared with me the other day, we were talking about this force versus flow, and it really resonated with me, his explanation of it. And that when you're in a sport and you have a team that expects things from you, it's really important that you provide what you can to that team. And when you're not playing the best that you can, you feel that pressure of the expectation of the team. But that pressure really becomes kind of internal, and you start to go inside of your head and think, okay, I need to improve here. I need to swim faster. I need to do all these things. And you're constantly in your head trying to fix or improve what you need to do. And this is what happened to Jack. So he would get in the pool. He finally got into the pool, and he'd get to play in the game, and he'd feel all this pressure to perform in a certain way and remember everything that his coach had taught him, all the different elements of what he needed to work on. And he just crashed and it almost immediately sometimes. And it took some time for him to realize that, yes, outside of the pool, he was working on the things he needed to work on. He was improving what he needed to improve. Once he got in the pool, the thing that he needed to do, the thing that fixed everything and helped him play a better game, was to let go and be aware of what was happening in the pool. When you're so stuck in your head, you can't see the game. You can't understand what's happening around you and see what the other players are doing. You're so consumed with what you need to do if that ball comes to you. So once he realized that, and he just was able to let go and flow with the game, his performance improved significantly. And that's a great lesson for us in life, that sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to perform a certain way, when in reality, we already know how to do that. And if we can just relax and open our eyes and see beyond that, things will just kind of flow and come together. Another little example I was thinking about, because I was trying to think of something we can all relate to, and that is, I think most of us go through life and we work hard and we're going through our days and we're doing everything we can, and then we get this opportunity to take a vacation. So let's say you haven't taken a vacation in a while and you saved your money and you've bought the tickets and you're ready to go and you're super excited about it, and it's 3 months down the road and you're going to Hawaii. And for 3 months leading up to that trip, you are thinking about that. You just can't wait to go. Oh my gosh, it's almost here. I can't wait to get to Hawaii. And you've created this perfect vision of your vacation. And you see yourself on the beach. You see the palm trees swaying. The weather is perfect. You hear the Hawaiian music in the background. You've got it down to every detail, this trip that you're going to take, right down to what it's going to feel like to step on that airplane to go. And you're so consumed with this thing that's ahead of you that you're not really present in your life for those 3 months, that they just kind of disappear. Nothing's really happening because you're not there and being present and flowing into your reality. And then finally, this vacation comes and you're so excited, and you get to the airport and you get into line at TSA, and it's 1,000,000 miles long, and you're getting tired and you're getting stressed, and you have to run to the plane, and you finally get on the plane and you sit down in your window seat. Thank goodness you had arranged to have a window seat. You're so happy. You order your drink, and the drink comes, and the person next to you moves their arm and spills that drink all over you. And now you're wet and you're stuck in the window seat, and you can't get up and you can't clean yourself off. And it begins this sort of sets the tone for a vacation, that you have built these expectations up so high that when you actually get to that moment, it's almost difficult to enjoy it. So had you been in the moment leading up to that vacation, the vacation comes and you're just happy to be there. Wow, oh my gosh, I get to go to Hawaii now. And when that drink spills on you, it's not going to ruin everything. It's just going to be part of the process and part of the adventure and part of the moment. So that's a little bit of how I kind of view force versus flow in our lives. If you take away the expectation of how things should happen and allow for freedom and flow to carry you to the end result, you're going to feel more joyful. And that's sort of what I'm trying to get at. I sort of put life into 4 different categories. Health is a big one. I think we all have that's a priority for most of us. And of course, I deal with that on a daily basis. So I know people think about that. That's something you can kind of think about as a chunk of your life. Passion or career, I like to say passion, whatever's really inside of you in your core that needs to come out, that would be your passion in your life. Then there's self, which is more reflection and how you view yourself and the words that you use to talk to yourself, and how you present yourself to the world. And then there's relationships, and those are the relationships you have with your family, your friends, coworkers, whatever it is. So I kind of think about these little chunks of life, and maybe one is going really, really well, and then another one maybe not so much. So sort of think about that. Emily, I'm going to ask you to put up the slide that has the 2 exercises on it. And we're going to just read through this really quick. There we go. Okay, force versus flow. So I actually want you guys to do this for a second. Trust me, you're in your room. If you actually do this, when you take something and physically do it, it's going to resonate more than if you just listen to me. So let's try this. Just close your eyes and remember a specific time when everything came together easily, almost like magic. Everything fell into place without much effort, and the result was exceptional. So just take about 30 seconds or so to really materialize that moment, something that just flowed and came very, very easily. And if you have a pen and a piece of paper and would like to write this down, or if you don't, just think about it. Think about all the different experiences that you can remember around that moment, and how did you feel? And did you question what was happening, or was it just very natural and you just accepted it for what it was? How much effort did you actually put into making this happen, this event? And were there any sort of parameters or limitations around that experience? So kind of think about your mental state when those things happen, or this particular thing happened, and think about leading up to it and what happened with that. And then conversely, I'd like you to do the exact same thing and close your eyes and remember a time in your life when things did not click. And it could be something current. In fact, if it is something current, I think that's good. If there's something that's just not clicking in your life right now, and as much effort as you were putting forth, the results were stagnant at best. And again, it could be in any part of your life, your career, your health, relationships, your whatever's going on. But if there's something, if you can think of something specifically right now that doesn't seem to be clicking, I want you to really think about what's going into that event or that circumstance. Sometimes we're very committed to something, but we're not exactly sure why we're committed to it. So if there is something that you're stuck in, maybe think about why you want it to be unstuck. And if you have a pen or piece of paper, you can write that down. Like, how committed were you to that event or that thing, and how dedicated to the circumstances were you, and who were you doing it for? Oftentimes, we end up thinking we want to do something, but it's really these outside expectations or limitations that are preventing us from doing it because we really don't want to do it in the deepest part of our heart. So think about that with the one thing that's stuck for you. So we're going to take a minute and just focus in on that area of your life that you might want to change. And I want you to be as specific as possible with that part of your life. It's something that you feel passionate about, but maybe something you haven't had the results that you've desired. Ask yourself why you want this area of your life to change, and really think about it. You guys are in your own space and you can be very vulnerable with yourself, and I'm inviting you to be vulnerable with yourself and think about what it is that's wanting you to change that. Is it really truly something that you want to change, or is it coming from an outside source? Is it something that other people expect of you? Is it something you expect of yourself, but it's based on outside influences? So think about for a second really why you want to change that element in your life. And then really get down to whether or not it's something that's coming from your heart. If it's not coming from something in your heart, then I think you should let it go and not worry about it. But if it is something that's coming from your heart, then we can move forward and try to get you unstuck and feel more flow. So once you've established that it's truly coming from your heart, take away all expectations. So this is something that happened to me recently. I had a goal and a desire, and I really was super excited about it. I was getting up every morning and putting a lot of effort forth, and it was driving my day. But I also had a lot of expectations of how this thing was going to happen. And I had a time frame, and I put a lot of pressure on it for it to happen in a certain way and in a certain amount of time. And I became very, very frustrated because it wasn't happening the way I expected it to happen. And until I was able to let go and release those expectations, when I finally did, then I was able to move forward in a really easy and natural way. So if we take that thing that we want changed and we take away the opinions of other people, even the ones closest to you, and you also dismiss your own preconceived assumptions, and maybe those are things that you believe, deep down you want something but you don't feel deserving of it, or you don't feel you're actually capable of it. If you can just let that go, you're going to feel better. So let's see if we can let that go. And then we can also remove the element of time or a deadline. So maybe this thing that you want changed right away, but let's see if we can just let go of the deadline and the time and allow for change to happen organically and naturally. And then also let's remove the process you feel necessary to attain that change. So we always think this is the line we need to follow in order to get to the end. And I'm thinking fairly unconventional right now. If you read a lot of self-help books or goal setting books, you have the big goal and you break it down into a smaller goal, and you break it down, and you have your little stepping stones to get to where you want to be. And I'm being a little more unconventional in this and saying, remove that and take away that specific journey that you've put into your head of how to attain that change or that goal, and just let it go. Let go of the time frame, let go of the process, and just visualize how you would feel if that change happened, or that goal happened, or you attained what you wanted to attain. And I would really like you to sit there for about 30 seconds and feel how it's going to feel when you attain what you want to attain. So I'm going to let you sit there for about 30 seconds. The difference between force and flow is letting go. Letting go of preconceived ideas and expectations, and allowing a more fluid and organic experience to evolve. Emily, if you could put that final slide up, that would be wonderful. tapping into inner peace. So what I just said, allow yourself to let go. Let's do that again. Close our eyes, feel the feelings that you were feeling, and understand it is an integral part of who you are. Know that you were meant for this change or endeavor. Believe it is rooted inside of you, and the ability to attain it is already there. You already have the power. Take the pressure off of achieving it. Literally take a deep breath, and with your exhale, let the expectation leave you. I'm going to read that again because I think it's important. Understand that where you want to go is an integral part of who you are. Know that you were meant for this change or endeavor. Believe it is rooted inside of you, and the ability to attain it is already there. You already have the power. Take the pressure off of achieving it. Literally take a deep breath, and with your exhale, let that expectation leave you. So this is something I actually do a lot. I wake up in the morning and I write every single day, and I don't plan it. I get on Facebook, on my private Facebook page, that I try to write inspiring things on every single day, and I don't plan it. And sometimes I feel the pressure of writing something magnificent or spectacular, and I feel that sort of angst come over me, and that's when I have to do exactly what I just said to you and take a deep breath, let go of the expectations, and allow for something to flow into me. And every single time I do that, what I need to let out and write about comes to me very naturally and easily. So if you quiet your mind, absorb the essence of this part of you, and allow the first step to materialize. It should come easily, and it may be very simple. The step will feel right. It will feel natural. It may be something you never considered before. Embrace only the first step. No expectations, no boundaries. So you can take that down if you'd like, Emily. So if you can let go, I think what happens is we end up on this train of thought and this place that we think we need to move from and toward. And if we can let that part of it go, maybe a different path, a more direct path, an easier path, a more natural path, a more organic path will present itself to us. So you may have something that you were thinking about that you're stuck in, and you wanted a solution, and right now in this little hour it didn't happen, and that's okay. So that's what I've found. You have to sort of eliminate the time constraint, and you have to allow your mind to settle, and you have to allow yourself to let go, which might take some time. For me, it happens in the most unnatural places, I guess. Sometimes it's happening when I'm working out and listening to loud music. That happened the other day. Sometimes it's in the shower, or just right when I'm waking up. But a lot of times the inspiration or the way through or the more natural next step happens when you're not actually thinking about it. But to be aware and mindful of what it is you actually desire and want in your life. The difference between force and flow is letting go of preconceived ideas and expectations, and allowing a more fluid and organic experience to evolve. So if we can picture a blockage, maybe a dam of a river, something that's going to hold that water back. That water is going to want to go through that dam. So think about having all of those blocks in front of that water, and what would happen if you just let that go? What's that water going to do? It's just going to flow, and it's going to go exactly where it was meant to go and where it felt natural to go. I'm hoping that this resonated with you a little bit. I have so much to talk about, and this is just one little element, but it's been at the forefront of my life right now. And really experimenting with being authentic and real, and what's coming to me naturally has created a very easy and flowing life. And I hope that that is something that can help you and help you in the future.
Kiefler said, thank you, just love what you do. These ideas of ways to rethink and how I can flow more than fight. Laura Ochoa says, thank you. Excellent concept, explanation, and example. Another participant says, thank you, Kristen. I needed this reminder and permission to be kind to myself.
I was just going to say, I really appreciate you, you know, the removing the time limit from things. That was one of my biggest holdbacks to myself. I do things in my own time, and it's taken me a long time to become okay with that. And, you know, in the job that I do, we live on deadlines. And sometimes I have to go to my bosses and say, I can't make that. I'm going to need more time, which means burning budgets. And I've had to just go, oh, well, and learn to be okay with that versus giving myself a bunch of crap saying, I've got to keep up with everybody else. I can't sometimes, and that's okay.
I'm someone who really thrives under a deadline, but I wait to the last moment. You know, I want to be inspired at the end. I'm not a big planner, and that drives planners crazy. So we all operate a little differently. And really, through my journey, the biggest takeaway for me is that I have to be patient with myself. That's the main thing. You know, we want to be excellent. We want to be great. We want to do everything right. And yet we're all human, and we all have a human experience, and we have to be patient with ourselves, because the journey is the whole journey. It's the whole journey. And if we can be patient with ourselves, we're going to get much more out of this journey together.